Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of Interviews at the Livingston County Sheriff's Office. I'm Deputy Michael Ann, and I'm here with Victims Specialist Dianne Davis. And how are you today, Dianne?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So today we're going to be talking about some victim services that are available through the Livingston County Sheriff's Office and what the victim specialist does here at the Sheriff's Office. I am unmuted today, which is good, so I got us started. So what is a victim specialist?
So I have been at the Sheriff's Office since the fall of 2019. And as the victim specialist, my role really is to support victims through the process of investigations and as a case moves forward through prosecution, help them file for orders of protection, make sure that they understand what all of their rights are, because victims in every state, including New York, have rights as they're involved in criminal cases. Provide them just kind of a lot of emotional support, give them status updates on the case, where it stands through each phase of the case, and connect them to any ongoing services that they identify may be helpful to them and or their family.
And what is your background that gave you the skill set to become a victim specialist?
So I have my bachelor's degree in social work, and then I immediately started my professional career as a caseworker for the Department of Social Services, and was there for 18 years. Have lots of training and interviewing and supporting and advocating for children and families. And then I worked for the district attorney's office for 2 years as a crime victim coordinator before I transitioned to the sheriff's office.
And what made you come to the sheriff's office?
So there was a grant under the district attorney's office that ended at the same time. A new grant opportunity arose for the first time ever to have law enforcement-based victim services. So we were able to apply for that federal grant and get placed under the sheriff's office.
Did you have a lot of experiences to become a victim specialist? Did you pretty big caseload when you were over at social services, correct?
That is correct. Yep. So almost 20 years of experience before coming to the sheriff's office. So yeah, I had 20 years of experience working as a social worker in the professional community. Has definitely given me a lot of experience. And
you spent a lot of time in court with victims throughout your career, correct?
That is correct. Yep, that is correct.
So your knowledge of the system is pretty extensive.
Yes, I have lots of, again, my primary experience in working at social services was through the family court system. And then being at the district attorney's office, I got a lot of experience and much more exposure to the criminal justice system and their courts. And so I still now participate in both courts. I can accompany victims to family court and to criminal court.
As a victim of crime, how does one find the services that are available to them?
So there is often each state has state and or federal organizations that post online in which county they can find victim services and supports. Here in Livingston County, our first responders, investigators, deputies on scene or working with individuals and families of crime provide them my information so I can reach out and follow up with them afterwards. They also, sometimes word of mouth, people just hear that there's victim services available. Family court often advises individuals who present at family court as a victim of my contact information. So it's really kind of through a wide variety of ways. There are state and federal websites that identify each victim services organization in specific counties and states.
And those are done generally through the Office of Victim Services through the state, and then those funds come down to us here at the office, correct?
Correct. There's the Office of Victim Services and then the Office of Crime Victims.
Crime Victims, yes.
Yep.
And along with those sites, I'm going to put another link in here right now into the chat, folks, and that's the Bindling System. And there's some sources on that. That is another site that I kind of coordinate for our data going in from the county. And there's some great resources on that.
Yes, absolutely.
And in person, if a victim of crime, are they generally going to go to the DA's office? Are they going to come here? Like you mentioned, our patrol or CID unit would reach out and
Correct.
work with other law enforcement agencies in the county if the services are needed.
Yes, if so, any local law enforcement jurisdictions, if they also are looking for my support or services, they can get in touch. There's a referral form that they can fill out, and once it's approved by the captain here, then I can assist them as well. I can provide in-person support. I can accompany people to court if they have to testify or just for any court appearances. I often have people come and meet with me in my office to develop safety planning, to just talk about what their options are. A lot of people just aren't familiar with what the processes are involving either criminal court or family court. So a lot of times it's just providing people a lot of education, and so they're aware of what their options are so they can make the decisions and the choices that are best for them and their family.
Now you have some literature in front of you today. What literature do we have there and some stuff?
So I let's see it, probably not, but it's the New York State Sheriff Assist Organization. And one of the things I really like about this program, so I talk with any of my victims who are victims of domestic violence, that if they are applying for and get an order of protection issued on their behalf, they can sign up on sheriffassist.org for notification. And that system allows them to be immediately notified when the offender is served the order of protection. There's a lot of research that talks about the safety of victims immediately following an offender being served an order of protection. It's usually within the first 45 minutes to an hour that the offender's reaction is the most significant and puts the victim most at risk. So signing up on this application allows them immediate notification when that offender is served the order of protection. It also allows them to get notification of releases of an inmate if somebody is incarcerated. There's a lot of benefits to that organization as well.
And the other brochure is just an extended services manual, and you have these here at the office, and we generally have them out in the public when we're doing our community events.
That is correct. There's just one of them is just like an individual, just kind of smaller loose leaf, and the other one is a booklet that gives a little bit more information. I do provide these to victims when they come in and meet with me in the office.
So we have a question from the audience, and I'll go ahead and pull that up there. It says, how do you not take this home with you?
Well, to say that I don't ever is probably not an accurate statement, because there are cases that you just take with you and stay with you for a long time. But having a really good, healthy support system is great. I have a great supportive family. I have great coworkers, and being able to share some of those experiences with people who do the work that you do is really helpful in letting you process and deal with a lot of the trauma we're exposed to.
Now, are there any new programs that the state or the sheriff's office has for victim services coming up?
I've seen that there are some new things that are coming out regarding reporting guidelines for victims of sexual assault. I've not yet seen the finalized product of that, but that is something that I have seen in the works that's coming. It's the only thing I can really think of that seems to be really new, and it's going to be a new way for victims to report in a more anonymous way and capacity if they choose.
Also, with the Bindling System that's available, and it's vinelink.com. You can go on there. There's also a number. You can register to see if the offender is in custody, or you can anonymously go on and take a look through the website to see if that offender is there. So if you feel more comfortable doing that, you can sign up for email, text, and telephonic communication, either the TDY or by regular phone for a message. So those two items are definitely available. And then Ms. Davis has her materials over there. And these systems are tied together through a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong here, the saving grants and there are the victims grants.
Yep. And the other thing that I really like about Vinelink, as you mentioned, about not only checking an offender's incarceration status, if you sign up, it also will notify you if an offender is moved, say, from one facility to another. A lot of times victims want that notification in the event that an offender is moving to a prison closer to home or further away. So that's another great benefit of Vinelink. It shows the notification of moving.
Yes, and it really, the updates are there. The system is very nice. I've been working with this system for about 18 years. There's a question from Ron here, and he'd like to know, would you be willing to visit our local Genesee Kiwanis meeting for a presentation?
Absolutely. With permission from the sheriff, I certainly would be willing to do that.
So all the Kiwanis would have to do, or the other local organization, is just submit a letter or email to the sheriff requesting your presence, or they call you, contact you?
They could do either or. I think there's a certain, whoever they contact at the sheriff's office, whether it's myself or a captain or the sheriff directly, there's a form that has to be filled out, and then the sheriff has to authorize that, and then I would certainly be willing. Absolutely.
Any other questions from the audience for Ms. Davis? Please throw them into the chat here. If somebody wanted to get in this field of victim services, be it with us or the DA's offices across the state or DSS, what would you suggest for education or getting that background or starting down that career path of helping out?
I definitely think, having some exposure to social work, internships, volunteering for somebody who's a social worker, to get some just kind of hands-on experience. I think that's really telling for people whether or not they have the ability to do this type of career. I know I was very fortunate in my college career that we were required to do so many hours of interning or volunteering within the major that we chose. And that for me solidified that helping people was really what I wanted to do. And that's really what my passion has been. So.
Yeah, you and I started about the same time, so we've been kind of working together along for the last couple of years. What is the most rewarding thing you've seen come out of your career or benefits to the community?
I think just knowing that you've made a difference. Even, sometimes you have to have really hard conversations with people that they don't like and they don't want to hear. I always tell people, though, at the end of the day, if something is better about your family, your situation, because you had contact with a social worker, with a victim advocate, and you can make some progress and some positive changes moving forward, then the hurt and the tears was worth it in the end. And I think seeing people come back and being able to thank you and acknowledge the impact that you had on their life in a positive way is all the benefit that you really need, that I need. It's been very rewarding.
For a family member or a friend that may know of a victim and trying to help get them victim services, can they reach out to you, or does it really have to be the victim that has to come forward to get those services?
It can start with a family member, because also as a victim specialist, my job is to support witnesses as well. And so oftentimes we know our family members and our loved ones, our witnesses, may not be the direct person who experienced the direct trauma, but we know there's vicarious trauma, and people who are exposed and connected to those ones are impacted as well. So certainly I have people reach out and look for options and services. And then hopefully at some point the identified victim, if you will, would be willing to accept a phone call from me or call me themselves. But we can certainly start with just those surrounded around that victim.
And you're out in the field with the guys if there's a major traumatic event, correct?
Yes, I can. Yep, I can be. If I'm available and there's something urgent on scene that they call me for, which they have, I've responded. I also do follow-up home visits. So I am absolutely in the community as well.
So again, in recap here, because we're introduction on the program. If anybody has any questions, please put them into the chat right now. But The office, the position is pretty much a new position. It's only 2 years old, correct, here at the office.
Yep, just under 2 years.
So you are developing a program.
That is true.
So we're talking victim services and the victim service specialist through the sheriff's office. So it's not just the law enforcement and folks, we now have some assistance for those victims. Ms. Davis is out there. So I thank you all for tuning in for our quick little brief on the victim specialist here at the Livingston County Sheriff's Office. And may you all have a safe day, and we'll be coming out with some more live interviews soon. So if there's
Awesome.
some other items you'd like to see or some questions, if you drop them in the chat, somebody will take a look. And thank you all for your time today.
Thanks for having me.